Here comes one of the world's most influential people, making American history as the second woman and the first black woman to serve as Secretary of State for this country. And now she shares her personal life in a new book called Extraordinary, Ordinary People, the memoir of a family, her family. We're honored to welcome for the first time on our show the former Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice. All those years looking at you on the front pages of the papers. And Condoleezza is such a unique name.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, had I been born a boy, I was going to be named John for my father. But my mother got to name the girl, and she wanted a musical name, and so she decided that Condoleezza, which is an Italian name meaning, Italian musical term meaning with sweetness, would be her daughter's name. So she changed the ending because she didn't think an English speaker would say it correctly.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
But you lived up to that name for her, didn't you?
Well, I don't know about the with sweetness part, but maybe the musical part,
You're
clearly.
a great pianist.
Well, I studied piano from age 3. My grandmother started teaching me when I was age 3. I love to play, and it's given me some wonderful opportunities.
Lucky girl, but to have two parents who were so interested in education. One, your mom was a teacher.
That's right.
Your dad was a minister and an educator.
Right, right. High school guidance counselor, later a university administrator. They believed that the answer to life was faith, family, and education. And I believe that too.
Yeah.
And your father was a high school guidance counselor, or your mother?
My father was a high school guidance counselor. My mother was a teacher, first an English teacher. As a matter of fact, my mom taught Willie Mays in high school.
No kidding.
Yes, she did.
Wow.
And he told me that she said, you know, you're going to be a ball player, so if you need to leave class a little bit early, you go right ahead. And so he remembers that to this day.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. The guidance counselors in school, I think, are very underrated because I found that mine really influenced me and encouraged me to pursue sort of the entertainment industry, and it never would have occurred to me without his suggestion.
Absolutely. My father, because he was a high school guidance counselor and a Presbyterian minister, had a whole group of kids in his youth fellowship program. They would come at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Many of them were his students. Many of them weren't even members of his church. But those kids have gone on to do remarkable things, including the young man who is currently the University of Maryland, Baltimore's president.
Oh, my gosh.
The first woman to be a governor of the International Monetary Fund, a couple of Pulitzer Prize-winning journalists, and they very much all credit my dad with what he did for them. So you're right, guidance counselors make a difference.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
wonderful. You know, I was reading the book and I was just thinking about all these young kids who either have a single parent or in some cases neither one, with the grandmother or whoever they can get. It's a tragedy what's going on.
It is. It's very sad because if you have parents who give you unconditional love, you have a head start in life that can never be replicated. But even for kids who don't have parents who are like that, I think they need an adult. Maybe it's a grandparent. Maybe it's a teacher.
Mentor.
A mentor. Maybe it's somebody in the community. Our community was a very strong community network of people who cared about us and made sure that we stayed on the straight and narrow, made sure that we believed that we could do anything.
And look what happened to you, you know? It's an incredible story. We'll be right back with Condoleezza Rice.
Still ahead on Live, Hillary Duff.
I love this photo.
In the Condoleezza Rice book, her memoir, some pictures that are worth showing you right here. Now here she is, a little girl, standing in front of the White House, and your father remembers you saying a very interesting quote.
Well, my father said, well, I may be outside today, but I'm going to be working in there one day. I don't really remember saying that, you know, but my father insisted. He insisted that I did.
Maybe he was trying to...
Suggesting.
And in addition to being a pianist and a social studies person and all of that, here you are skating.
I was a competitive ice skater. I was a very bad competitive ice skater. I am 5'8". I have 5'10" legs. I'm exactly the wrong body type, and I said to my father at one point, why didn't you put a tennis racket in my hand and skates on my feet?
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
I have to say this though, if you're a competitive figure skater, even a very bad competitive figure skater is an amazing figure skater. As you know.
And you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be on the ice, and I'm still up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So.
Then you graduated from the University of Denver.
Yes.
And then moved on to get a master's degree at
Raleigh Sons at Notre Dame.
Raleigh
That's
Sons,
right.
Notre Dame, right here. And then, of course, the PhD. And then when did politics really enter your life?
Well, politics entered my life through foreign policy. I became a specialist on the Soviet Union, and I met Brent Scowcroft, who later on became President George H.W. Bush's national security advisor. Brent brought me to Washington, and then President George H.W. Bush introduced me to his son. When he invited me to Kennebunkport in 1998, he said, you know, I'd like you to meet my son. He might be doing something in the future. And that's how I got to know George W. Bush, and that was really my entry into the White House.
You became very close to that family, didn't you?
I did. I've been very close to the Bush family. They're wonderful people. They are a terrific family. Yeah.
It's such a hard business. I mean, you must have had so many sleepless nights, and so much of the time you must have thought, why am I doing this?
If you're going to do it, though, if you're going to have the jobs that I held, you might as well do it at a time of consequence. And I felt strongly that because of what had happened to us on September 11th in this very city, that it was really an honor to serve. And I'm very grateful that there wasn't another attack. But I know that it was because people were working every day hard to prevent that. And so that and my faith in the United States, my tremendous faith and admiration for our men and women in uniform who volunteer to defend us. This made my job. When I saw what they did, I thought, my job is easy. I have no right to complain.
The book kind of ends right there when you become associated with the younger Bush.
Yes.
But the story of you growing up is inspirational, and I hope other parents can read it, know what they can do for their children, the way your parents did for you. One question I have. You know, we're in this very rugged voting season, election year right around the corner. And so people are saying things, but you know, every now and then you hear that your administration is more responsible for the mess that the country is in right now than the current administration. How would you answer something like that?
Well, look, I think that we all do our part, and I am going to let this administration have their chance. You know, it's not fair to chirp at them from the outside. We had our chance. I think that President Bush led this country through extraordinary difficulty in extraordinary times, and that he did it with honor and with dignity. And we can't ask more of a president.
Okay. All right, now look, here it is. Extraordinary, ordinary people. Right there, in the chairs right now. Condoleezza, so nice to have you here.
What a pleasure.
Hillary Duff coming up next. She got a book too. We'll be right back.